Hey folks, this is the last skill we need to learn in this chapter. It deals with situations like this, where we've got our equal sign and a variable on this side, which is k, and the same variable on the other side. So, basically we need to do a little bit of cleaning up first before we get started on it. And what I tell kids typically is, what you're going to want to do is, you're going to want to move any term that has a letter, okay, to the left. And any plain old number, such as 2.6, you're going to move it to the right, okay? And then what that will do is it'll allow us to consolidate the k's and the variables, the letters, on one side strictly alone, nothing else there, and all the numbers on the other side. And then we're one step closer to solving the equation when we've done that separation. So, first thing we're going to do here, draw a line through the equal sign. Now I'm going to bring the letter to the left. Now, you can bring it to the right and it won't change anything. You'll still get the right answer. However, because this is the first time you've seen it, I highly recommend just following this. Letters to the left. Okay. So how do we do that? Well, how do we move anything back and forth over the equal sign? We do the opposite of what's happening to it. So this is our term here with the letter 4.3k. So I want to get rid of it from that side and essentially move it to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 4.3k from this side, and whatever we do to one side, just as every other equation, we have to do to the other. Okay. So what does this give us? Well, on the right hand side here, it's gone. We had positive plus 4.3k. We took it away. It's gone. On this side, we've got this. So we've taken away a term that has a variable attached to it. So the only term on this side we're worried about is the one that has the variable. Okay? So this 2.6 here, we don't really care about it because it doesn't have a k. The only thing we're going to consider is this 2.1k, okay, in relation to this minus 4.3k. Now, using our integer rules, we're simply going to take 2.1 and subtract 4.3 from it. So we're going to have negative 2.2k. And on this side, we're going to have 1.5, okay? Now, this 2.6 is still here, okay? It's positive, and we can't forget about it. So we just put it essentially in front of the minus 2.2k, okay? So this part here was just dealing with the k's. Okay, it was a positive 2.1, and we took away 4.3, and we were left with negative 2, so we wrote it as minus 2. And this 2.6 I just brought it down. Okay? Now, what have we got? Well, let me just erase some of this highlighting. Here we go. So we've got, all we have now is a two-step equation with decimals. So I'm going to subtract 2.6 from both sides. So 1.5 minus 2.6 is negative 1.1. And on the left side, we've got, watch out for this negative sign here. Don't forget about it. So we're going to have negative 2.2k, and then I just have to divide both sides by negative 2.2, negative 2.2, and we get k equals, I'll write it out for you. So we divided, and there's a lot going on there with decimals and negatives, but I'm sure you see the match. It's essentially 1/2. So our answer to this is 1/2. Okay? Let's try another one. Okay, here we've got 4.9 minus 6.1u, so there's our variable, equals negative 3.2u minus 3.8. So what we're going to focus on is the difference between our terms that have, and don't forget the sign beside it, our terms that have variables and our terms that have no variables, okay? So in this case it's those, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to move the term with the letter to the left. So we have to look at what's happening to it originally. In this question, it is negative 3.2 u. So we need to add it to get rid of it. Okay. So let's draw a line through the equal sign. We're going to add. We're going to add 3.2 u to both sides. Okay. Now we've got this 4.9. We're going to clean up this business. This is gone now, but we still have negative 3.8 on this side because it was being subtracted. Okay. Now we just have to clean this up. So this is negative 6.1 plus 3.2. And that's the variable term, so we're going to simply punch in our calculator, negative 6.1 plus 3.2 to get negative 2.9. Now it's negative, so we're going to write it as subtract. Okay? And now we have a simple equation, a two-step equation with decimals, and we're going to subtract 4.9 from both sides. And we get negative 2.9, negative 8.7 on this side. And when we divide both sides by negative 2.9, negative 2.9, we find that u equals 3, right on the dot, positive 3. Okay? So that's how we do those types of questions. Now what I want you to do is pause the video. Not yet. I'm going to show you two more and I want you to get the answers for them. Okay, or try them out at least. Let's see here. Okay, there they are. So give those two a try. And then we'll come back with the answers. Okay, I'll put the answers in slowly. So try both of them. And then pause the video, and then when you unpause, I will put the answers there. Okay? Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you today is when we have not only variables on both sides, like this s and this s, but also a set of brackets. Now, this doesn't really add a ton of complexity, okay? It looks complicated, but what you're going to do is apply the distributive property, so multiply the term outside by the two terms on the inside, okay? And then what you're going to be left with is an equation looking exactly like the ones we just did, okay? This just adds one extra step, okay? So let's see here. So first thing I'm going to do is multiply the 4 by the terms on the inside, and this negative 3 by the terms on the inside of that second set of brackets. So on the left here, we're going to have 4s 4 times s is 4s, plus 6.4 equaling negative 3s plus 3.6. And this is plus 3.6 because this is negative 3 times negative 1.2. So a negative times a negative gives us a positive, so we write it as plus. Okay? I'm just going to make these s's a little more obvious. Okay, there we go. So 4s plus 6.4 equals negative 3s plus 3.6. So from here we're just going to carry on. I'm going to bring the terms with the letter to the left. Okay, so we've got this letter term with the variable and this one, and then we have these two plain old numbers sitting there hanging out. So I'm going to move this negative 3 over by adding it to both sides. So plus 3s to both sides. And on the left, that's going to give me 7 s's. Plus 6.4 is still there. And on the right-hand side, we're going to have just positive 3.6. So I'm going to subtract 6.4 from both sides now. And we get 7s equals 3.6 minus 6.4 is negative 2.8. And now I'm just going to divide both sides by 7. And we get s equals negative 0.4. Okay? So these questions with brackets you're going to solve very similarly. You just need to do that one step at first, which is multiply everything inside by whatever's out front, being mindful of the signs, okay? And then once you get to here, it's the same as the ones we just did in the previous questions, okay? So I'm going to give you a couple more to try. Here we go. So try those two. You're going to get, the numbers are going to be a little bit uglier, but that's okay. So you're going to multiply this in, this one in, draw a line, continue, and same with this one, okay? So get these two answers, and I'll put the answers right away. So pause the video and try those two, and then, yeah, I'll put the answers up.